It's a beautiful fall day here in Harvard Square. Great day to be high on life or anything safe, really. My name is Jabari Morgan. I am the Chatman. Welcome to Chatman booth. So happy to be in Harvard Square for the first time. Support your local community TV station. Have time for a chat? Please, let's do it. Take a chance. Live your life. Community TV. Come on, say hi. Support your local community TV station. Have a chat. You couldn't see his earbuds, but they were in there. Oh, his friend talked him out of it? Oh, friend. Wouldn't use that word. It's a beautiful day in Harvard Square. You haven't seen us in this location before because I was a little nervous to come here. I thought we might get hassled away, what have you. But welcome to Chatman booth. Last time you saw us, we were on the Common, and I do not know who this man is yet, but that's how it works on Chatman booth. We sit in the street and we talk to strangers about whatever strangers want to talk about. So we're in Harvard Square. I'll meet you in just 1 second. We're in Harvard Square, kind of on JFK Street, across from the Tasty Burger, by Pete's Coffee, Grindel's Den. You all know how big a fan I am of Grindel's Den. So I went into Grindel's Den looking for a buddy of mine to come on the show, and I see this drink stand with beautiful-looking people serving beautiful-looking drinks, and ascertained that I hadn't really seen you before, and yeah, now you're here. I said, you want to come on and talk about what you do? So my name's Jabari, host of Chatman Booth. And your name?
I'm Jeffrey.
Great.
Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. How long have you lived in the area?
I've been here about 3 years.
Oh, where'd you come here from?
I lived overseas in Asia for a while.
Whereabouts?
I lived in China, but worked all over.
Okay. So I can imagine right now, as most people can, the shape of China. So if I'm holding China up right here, where were you? Where did you spend your time?
Right here. That would be Shanghai, on the eastern border.
Wow. A lot of people there, huh?
Yeah, 23 million, I think.
Oh, that's incredible. What is that like? That volume of people? How do you connect with people when there are so many people around?
Well, I've always thought, when you go to a very dense city, it can simultaneously be so confusing because you're surrounded by people. But they're strangers to you, so you can be surrounded by them, but at the same time, you can feel very lonely. So that connection is really important.
How many languages do you speak?
I speak English and I speak Chinese.
Who taught you how to speak Chinese?
It's just growing up in the family culture.
Fantastic. I'm so curious about, before we talk about Abide, I'm curious about your time and your life there. I've been all over this half of the world, but not the other half of the world yet. Yeah.
So, born and raised, California. Come from a family of 4, big family.
Whereabouts in
Rowdy.
California?
Bay Area, Palo Alto.
Okay, yeah. I lived in Cotati, Sebastopol, Roder Park for a little bit, but I lived in Humboldt County for about a decade.
Nice. So, we're geographic brothers.
Yeah, we are. We are.
Nice.
So, what you could live in Northern California at any time that you wanted to. Why did you? I do want to go back to Shanghai for a second, but why did you choose Boston? I'm sort of surprised at how many Californians make their way to Boston, particularly Central or Northern Californians, as some people think of San Francisco. And I find Boston to be a very similar city to San Francisco, but a little bit, and I'm not knocking San Francisco, I love it, but a little bit grittier, a little more honest, a little more realistic.
You find San Francisco to be that way?
No, I find Boston to be that way.
Oh, absolutely. I would absolutely agree with that. I think there are many similarities. I spent time in San Francisco, in Berkeley, in Palo Alto, like I mentioned. I've also lived in various places on the East Coast, New York, D.C., all fantastic places. But, I mainly chose to settle here because I think Boston has so much character. The people here are tough people, and there's a lot of opportunity for growth, development, and exciting things are happening. Here we are in Cambridge. We're surrounded by innovation, by an energy that's unmatched elsewhere in the United States.
And has been for quite some time. I like to describe Boston as being like the source for so much of the intellectual freedom that's in the world right now.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Wow. Okay, so I want to circle back to to Shanghai. Just kind of set the scene. I want to know. I kind of want to go there via you. Um, what kind of place did you live in? What were you doing with your days? How long were you there? Was it fulfilling?
Yeah, I was there for about five years, and it was fulfilling. It was very challenging, but it was very fulfilling. I think the thing outside of the sheer number of people that we talked about, the second thing I would say that you would notice back when I was there was the disparity between the rich and the poor. Obviously, that's kind of a dynamic that you see all over the world. Even in Cambridge, you don't have to look far. But the gap was so big when I was there in China, and so that was always interesting because you could see as the economy developed how the gap started to narrow, and the kind of dynamics that played out there. That was very interesting.
And it's my understanding just through my travels that more Chinese people know America and are more familiar with its systems than most American youth are about China, and that bothers me.
I think that's true, Jabari. I think whether it's China, whether it's Europe, people who grow up in these cultures, they all learn English in primary school, and they're familiar with our culture. Part of that is because is a testament to how strong our culture is. For the people growing up in the United States like myself, I do really recommend people to go out of the United States, to go and experience different cultures. I think it really helps broaden you. And as a teacher, that's a great way to be educated.
Having been to every corner of this country many times over, one of the things that I like to do as I just sit at home at night is just hit up YouTube and just check out footage of nature and wildlife in the country of China, and the engineering feats there absolutely blow my mind. I don't say this necessarily as as someone who identifies as American, but I'm very happy about the money that China is putting into sub-Saharan Africa and making improvements there. I want to get back to what you were doing with your time there.
So it's funny you mentioned investments. I was building power plants, specifically renewable energy power plants, so solar, wind, hydro. That was my job.
There, you got a cape on under that outfit, don't you?
Come on,
be honest.
No.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Okay, so it seems like embracing renewable energy is something that the continent of Europe, the nation of China are doing at a more realistic and accelerated rate to us.
Well, I mean, there's always two sides of every story. On one side, that's true, but that's also because they're less developed, so putting in new infrastructure is relatively easier. Whereas for more developed countries, layering on that layer of technology can be more difficult. But everything is two-sided. I mean, Germany did it; they're a very developed country. There are other countries that are less developed that are putting it in, but it's not as stable. So it really depends.
I want to ask you, where do you think this world is going? Why are you participating in it to the extent that you are? Where do you think this society is going?
I think that really depends on the individual. If it goes where we choose it to go. And so I feel like we all need to do our part by taking a very positive attitude, by spending a lot of energy and time and investment to make sure that the future is protected for our future generations.
I completely agree with you. It's important to make a choice. I think we live in a universe that is structured to support our choices, and better to make them than to let someone make them for you. Okay, so this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you mind if we get to this now?
No, absolutely.
Okay, what the hell is it?
So Abide is a specialty drink shop. And so we serve drinks, and everything is house-made. And the reason we did it was because drinks bring people together. Much like this conversation is happening, two people, two strangers talking, we find that a delicious drink is not only good for the body, it's also good for the soul.
Okay, so let's talk about the deliciousness. What's in front of me now?
So this is our Godfather drink. It's strawberry, fresh milk, and fresh tea. This tea is a green tea called matcha tea from Japan that we hand whisk in-house.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, I've had matcha before. So strong yet palatable.
Yeah, and it's also very good for you. Tons of antioxidants. The caffeine in there is a slow release caffeine. Unlike coffee, you're gonna hit a wall. This one, it's just a slow release, so you don't get any jitters.
Mm. This is outstanding. How long has Abide been abiding? The dude abides.
That's perfect. Our hashtag is keep abiding, so
Oh my
you
God,
you
I'm
nailed
in
it.
love.
We've been around for about a year.
Oh, fantastic. How's it going?
It's good, being able to introduce our product to the community. We've had an overwhelming response. We've really been floored.
Mm. This is
So
fresh.
we do everything house made. What you got just right now is a little bit of that house made almond jelly with lychee fruit.
Oh my word!
Yeah.
It's heavenly.
Yeah.
It's heavenly. Okay, so you have a store in Central Square.
Correct.
In Cambridge. Where is that in Central Square?
It's 317 Massachusetts Avenue, right in the heart of Central Square, close to MIT.
Oh, wonderful! Absolutely wonderful. Okay, and then how often do you do these satellite?
Yeah, so we have a couple friends, including in Harvard Square, including Night Market and Parsnip. And so we work with them, and the patio is open to us. We're usually here on every Friday.
That's magnificent. Night Market is an amazing restaurant. I have never been in a place exactly like that, and I don't think I ever will again. Okay.
Yeah, it's
Good.
fantastic.
I like this. I like this camaraderie. So, if you don't mind me asking, what else do you? Because I know you have other things going on. What else do you have going on besides this? And is this coming from helping build renewable power plants in China? Do you find something like this as an enterprise relaxing?
Well, owning your own business is never relaxing. So there is a soothing component to it. When someone tries your drink and their day is made better, that is very rewarding.
That most certainly happened here. I'm half paying attention to what you're saying because I'm trying to comprehend this deliciousness
Now, I would recommend
from Abide. Oh yeah,
shaking it up.
a little jangle jangle.
There you go.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And then it mixes together real nice.
Okay, so can you talk about some of your other drinks?
Yeah. So the way we designed the menu is we really wanted there to be a little bit something for everybody. So people are so diverse. People come from different walks of life, different experiences, different interests. And so the way we named our drinks, the way we did our descriptions, the way we did our flavors was to try to appeal to everybody if possible.
The Black Widow, the Godfather, the Foggy Bottom, Hint of Mint, the Rosalind, or do you say Rosalind?
Say the Rosalind.
And the Ice Cold. Now, I know you shouldn't have a favorite child, but which one of these do you drink the most?
Yeah, I do have a favorite. It is the Rosalind. This is probably our most unique drink. You won't find anything else quite like it in the area. It's our cold brew coffee with matcha.
Yeah, I just got ahead of you while you were talking and read the ingredients. I haven't thought to combine those.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend people who are interested to try it. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
It's interesting because deep, earthy, and nutty flavors is that's how I'm listed in my high school yearbook.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I'd also highlight the name of the drink, the Rosalind. So for people who don't know, the person who actually was involved with the discovery of DNA was this lady, Rosalind. But the credit went to Watson and Crick. That's why the tagline says, "Forget Watson and Crick. This combo deserves a Nobel Prize." So shout out to-
Oh my
shout out to
goodness!
Ms. Rosalind.
Oh my goodness! You absolutely are in the right place at the right time. Okay, it was an absolute pleasure to meet you. I've asked you a lot of questions. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I love what you're doing. Keep going, and had a great time.
Yeah. Everybody has a story, and I want to hear everyone. Thanks for doing this deliciousness, this healthiness. Thanks for coming on and talking to a stranger. This is Chatman Booth, right here in Harvard Square, 21st of September. We love you. See ya. Okay, the universe has answered the call. I was sitting here pleading for someone to sit down and talk with me, and you sat down. Hi, my name's Jabari.
My name is Ruth.
Ruth, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
So you must get what I get a lot, which is, will you look at the camera for just a little bit so we can see your face? Oh, great. Thank you. Now, you must get what I get a lot, which is compliments on your spectacles.
Oh, they particularly get compliments from me, and because I often put them down and I don't know where I put them, and I think I've lost them, and I don't want to lose these spectacles. It's not that I couldn't get other spectacles, but these are my absolute favorite.
They're outrageously brilliant.
People stop me in the subway to tell me that.
So I like a lot of things about them, including that they're probably from the future. But this lime green
Yeah.
is my favorite color. I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Ruth.
Okay. Um, I, it's selfish of me as a
My name is Ruth because my parents both came from immigrant families, and they had slightly foreign names, and they wanted their oldest daughter to have a simple local name. And so there I am, Ruth the American.
Ruth the American. Whereabouts in this world were your parents from?
I had two grandparents from Germany and two grandparents from Ireland.
Oh wow, great, great. So the family reunions were just
There were no family reunions. Both families didn't like the marriage.
oh my, wow. Do you know how they met?
You know, I've kind of forgotten that. I've forgotten that, yeah.
So if I may ask, where do you hail from in America? Were you born and raised here? Are you from elsewhere?
I was born in western New York, in a small town called Williamsville, which I grew up in and I absolutely adored. And then my poor father, who was with a large corporation, got transferred to this dreadful place called Decatur, Illinois. It's the soybean capital of the world. And I went when I was in high school, and I never adjusted. So the minute I graduated from high school, I'm out of there.
So apart from just being, kind of torn away from what you known as your home, what was Decatur for you? Flat, boring, isolated, unaccepting? Like I'm sure there are reasons to love Decatur, but why didn't you?
I don't know. I just never adjusted. So the minute I was ready to go to college, I'm out of here.
Where'd you go?
Well, I thought I was going to be an artist, so I went to Cleveland Institute of Art, also to get a degree at Western Reserve University. I mean, you could go to Western Reserve, take classes at Cleveland Institute of Art, and get a bachelor's from Western Reserve, and that's what I did. And unfortunately, when I went to Cleveland Institute of Art, which is one of the best art schools in the country, I learned that many people were better than me. So I kind of withdrew from that hope that I would be a real artist.
What kind of art did you like to make at the time?
I was a painter. And so then I got a job with a firm in Cleveland, Ohio, an interior decorating firm. And I thought, that's good. I love to decide whether you should get, what kind of draperies you should have, what kind of carpets you should put on the floor. It's picking out colors, and that's what I'm good at.
Sounds like artistry to me.
Yeah, yeah. And so I had that job for about a year, maybe a little more. But what I realized was when you were talking to a client, the important question as you were showing them two fabrics that they could use to create draperies for their living room, the important questions for them was, how much does this one cost a yard? And how much does that one cost a yard? And I said, this is all about money, and I don't do money. Goodbye.
That's so refreshing to hear. That is so refreshing to hear. My mentors advised me that I do need to make money more of a priority if I'm going to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. But I reached a point in my life where I was able to wrestle away from believing that it was really an important factor in the caliber of one's soul. If you know what I mean.
I do. I couldn't tell you how deeply I know that.
So where did your travels take you after that?
So I went home, and I said to my father, I've decided I'm going to go to graduate school. And he said, well, I put you through college, and you're not going to get one penny from me. So I had to work like hell to get enough money to head for New York. And they had, I hope they've changed, a very bad system in Italy. And that is that when you wanted to become a full-time, lifetime, forever professor in the Italian system, you had to go to Rome to sit for your libro docenza, your license to be a professor. And you sit for your libro docenza, and after, I don't know how many hours or days that this examination goes on, it's an oral examination. Then
Administered by how many people?
I don't know. I mean, I can't remember. It's too long ago. And then they decide where you will be a professor for the rest of your life. And so maybe, maybe you come from Naples, and there's something open in Venice, and that's that. And
The rest of your life. That's
and
that.
your family doesn't want to move to another part of Italy, and so you're in a difficult situation. And so at the last minute, my husband, who has a Harvard PhD, who had a Harvard PhD, said, I'm not going to do this. And he got in touch with his Harvard professors and said, get me a job in the United States.
And then you came back. Did you and this dude have any children?
No.
Cool. Wow, you had your whole lives.
He left me because I was unable to have children.
Oh, mercy.
But I married somebody who was much finer, a great man who taught at Harvard, taught at MIT, famous man, and that was nice.
Wow. Wow. Ha 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 ha. What was it? What was it like for you returning to America? You loved Italy, but was it a relief? What was it like?
Well, for a while it was hard trying to figure out what I was going to do, but it all worked out quite well.
Did you sort of stay in the area after your return from Italy?
No, I came back to what I knew, which was Washington, and I taught at University of Maryland for some years. Not very many, I can't remember how many. But University of Maryland drove me crazy, and so it's too complicated to explain. But there was a sort of system there that I didn't approve of. So I read an article. Well, one of the things was that I teach in dark rooms, art historian, dark rooms, class of 100 people, a dark room. You walk across the campus, students greet you merrily, you're their professor, and you've never laid eyes on them. And I found that repulsive. And I saw an article in the paper, there was going to be a new university in Boston, and no class would ever be more than 25 students. And I said, I'm going, and I came.
Wow. What do you think when you hear someone in their 20s, like you were, talk about wanting to go into into art for a living, to devote their lives to it? There's so much, there's so much resistance from families of people who want to devote their life to art. How do you?
It's a big risk. It's a risk. There's no doubt about it. You have to be really good, and you have to find your way to go into competition and to win. I mean, it's not nothing. But it's wonderful.
What role how has your gender affected things over the years? I mean, it's just a very big topic of conversation right now, and I would wonder if you'd speak to that.
Well, I don't really know. I mean, it's so obvious and so real. I've felt it negatively in my life, but not enough to be overwhelmingly furious. I can remember when I did decide to come to the University of Boston, Massachusetts in Boston. I mean, I've been affiliated with all 4 universities in this part of the world, but I was at the art department at UMass Boston, and the man who was head of the department before I came in he was a brilliant man, but he was a negligent man. I mean, he was rarely on campus more than 3 days a week. He had a beautiful country home, and he just loved to get out there.
Nice work if you can get it.
Right, exactly. And, and then he finally moved on, retired, and I became the chair of the department. And I remember how much less money I made than he did, and I was a very, uh, you know,
And you were the opposite of neglectful.
I was very much there. And, I thought of that as a gender problem. I thought of that, it's something a guy gets away with,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
I'd like to ask you one more question. I know you said you wanted to chat briefly. Um, gotcha. So I would like you to talk about, it could be anything that you've seen, a memorable work of art, something that captured your attention or imagination or focus. I'd like to hear you talk about a particular piece of art, if that's all right.
Well, that's impossible. I mean, I've worked with too many works of art, and I've worked too intimately with them. But I'll mention, I mean, I was on the board of directors of the Musée Rodin in Paris for 25 years. And I've written 2 books on Rodin. One of them's been translated into several languages. And so, of course, I love his work. And I love the story of the man who came from nothing and just was in himself talented and rose to enormous fame.
Splendid. Just splendid. Ruth, 4 little letters. Simple American name. Wow. Thank you so much for your time. Saying our third recorded goodbye, and she's getting up to go, and I realize that I haven't gotten her last name yet, so I asked her her last name, and she says Butler, B-T-L-E-R. In fact, in the 13th century, my ancestor was a servant to the King of England, and did such an outstanding job that they named the position after him. That's why they're called butlers. I'm just like, really, lady? Really? She's like, yeah, really. And after his retirement, the king gifted a large sum of land in Ireland to this butler. And she's been there, and when you say the name butler, they all know where you're from. And then she also said repeatedly, I can't believe I just like fell down on this bench and